Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Teachings of Joseph. I'm Cindy Edison. I'm so thrilled today to be joined with Gary Bodley, who channels Joshua. And I'm so excited for this. Now, Gary has had me on his roundtable, Law of Attraction roundtable, a couple times. What a great group that is. Thank you for all of that. And welcome. Thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you for having me. This is so much fun. This is the fun part.
This is
This
the
is
fun
getting
part.
to talk
Yeah.
about what we're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it is the fun part.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't normally do interviews from this side. I try to stay away from it, but for other channels, I really want to, because a lot of the questions I get from my clients, and I'm assuming you do too, what happens? How do you do it? What happened to you? What was your process? Everybody wants to hear that because everybody thinks that nobody else is experiencing what they've experienced. And they go, oh, thank God I'm normal you
Yeah,
know? So
for
tell
sure.
us about Joshua. Tell us who they are to you and how you discovered them.
So I lost everything in 2007. I was rather wealthy and successful and trying to fill this void in my soul by having money and looking good from the Western's, level of success and trying to get people to appreciate me. I had all these businesses and properties and blah, 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 blah. And nothing ever filled that hole. And through that, real estate boom, I was in real estate my whole life. And I just said, this is the time has come where now all my, all the education in real estate and all my unbelievable powers of real estate is coming to fruition. And I just went for it and got very successful. And then it all went away. And it all went away for a purpose,
Mhm.
because every single thing that happens to us, I now understand, is happening so that we can get on a spiritual journey, whatever it
Absolutely.
is,
Yeah, I agree
anything in
100%.
childhood, anything, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
always leading you to show you that the way you're approaching life is not the spiritual journey. It's this man-made idea of comfort and safety and security and abundance. It's ineffective. It's no good. So I lost everything. Then someone brought us The Secret. Then I found Abraham. Then I started meditating. And in meditation, I felt this strange sensation on the side of my skull moving around, like tingly, tingly, tingly. It felt like a presence. I started, you know, conversing with it and asking it questions just for fun. Got back these amazing answers. Thought I was making it all up. But I kept doing it every day. And then one day I said, "Who is this?" And they said, "We are Joshua." I'm like, "Okay, right, whatever." And didn't believe it. Doubt, 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 doubt. And I
Yeah.
kept meditating every single day. And then on November 15th, 2013, 7 years ago, they said, "Get up and go right, right, right." Got up, went to my home office, closed the door, turned on the computer, started typing, typed 3 pages in about 30 minutes. And that became the introduction to the first book, which is A Perception of Reality.
Wow.
So went back the next day, type, 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 type. In 56 days, the entire 300-page book was done. And the next day after that, the next book started, 300 pages, 122,000 words, 56 days. So here I
Yeah.
have in 16 weeks, 2 fully formed books, sent those books out to people, then got invited to have a podcast on the Law of Attraction Radio Network, then got invited to speak on a cruise with Pam Grout. At that cruise, there were 50 or 60 people. 50 of them came to see me. 2 people came to see Pam Grout. She's a
Wow.
best-selling author. So something was happening. I had this podcast
Yeah.
going, and it just expanded from there. Then I ended up, looking for a big house where we could have these Joshua events, and found this house in this little town in North Carolina, and ended up moving here, and ended up realizing this is the house that was in my dreams since I was 25 years old. This recurring
Wow.
dream of this house, a Victorian house, big house that needed a lot of work. Fix it up. Here I am. And it's just been expanding, expanding, expanding. Then Joshua, at the beginning of 2019, channeled this course, which is called the Unlimited Abundance Bootcamp. And in that boot camp, it reveals your soul's purpose to you. My soul's purpose was to be a spiritual leader and teacher. Up until that point, now this is doing Joshua 5 years. I just think I'm a student of Joshua like everyone else. I see it. I realize it. A lightning bolt hit.
Yeah.
I become a spiritual leader and teacher, teach this boot camp to people all over the world. We have one they're 8 weeks long. So every 2 months we have one. And now we're on boot camp 11. Boot camp 10, though, started to change. And it was the same thing, but I started to see it from a different perspective, and Joshua added stuff to it. And then I'm invited to lots of experience in the last 2 years, but invited to New York. And in New York on July 6th, I had my awakening moment where I understood that I was source, right?
All right. So
And
you
that
have to you
source
have to
is love.
tell us that story now. We want to know that moment because I have a lot of questions based on what you said. And I'm going to ask Chandler questions, not audience questions.
Yeah.
So first, I want to know what this moment in that moment, I know what that's like because all of a sudden
Yeah.
and there's nothing that can change. I get that. But what was the catalyst for you, if there
Uh,
was one?
yeah. So we're invited to this unbelievable group of people in New York City. We have these ceremonies over the weekend. We're interacting with these cool people. They're all, some of them know Joshua, some of them don't. They have this fun group. They were in this luxury apartment on the upper west side,
Love that.
view of everything. You can see the river, and it was just
Yeah.
amazing, right? So we're there, and we did Joshua live there. So there were people there listening to Joshua. We also broadcast it then. And then after that, we had an experience with Bufo. Do you know what that is?
No.
So it's from the Bufo frog, and it's a highly powerful psychedelic experience. It lasts 15 minutes. And
Wow.
in that 15-minute period, I you go somewhere else, right? And as I come to, I am on these bubbles of love that are turquoise in the universe, right? And they say, "We love you, we love you, we love you."
Wow.
And then I say, "I love you, I love you, I love you. I am love, I am love." And I stand up and say, "I am love," and I realize, and it's me and
It's
source
like,
connected. We have no difference, right? I'm source, source is love. That's all there is. Then I have all these other experiences that last 15 minutes, boom, done. I have this awakening experience, boom. But I don't know what it is. I just think, okay, this is just this psychedelic experience, whatever it is. So then for the next 14 days, in the middle of the night, I'm woken up 3:33 in the morning, 2:22, 1:11, 12:21, 11:11, all these
yeah.
different times, right? And then I'm getting these downloads that are explaining how physical reality works, what the purpose of humanity is, what this whole thing was, what Christianity is, all this stuff, what the yin and the yang is, what infinity is, all this stuff, right? And I'm trying to take notes in the middle of the night. I'm awake all night long. So if I'm up at 1:11, I'm awake from then until
Yeah.
the
Me
morning,
too.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Always.
literally existing for these 2-week periods on 2 hours sleep.
Yeah.
I understand my worthiness. I quit everything. No coffee, no meat, no TV, no video games, none of this stuff. No
Yeah.
wine, no that I normally enjoy. I'm absolutely productive, right? I'm focused on whatever I'm doing. So then I come back to my normal self. We catch COVID, both of us, Tracy and I. We
Wow.
go through that experience, which was a breeze.
Yeah.
It was 3 days for her, 2 days for me.
Wow.
Headache, exhaustion, pain on my ribs and my hips. That was it. And a little coughing. That's it. Started to feel it Sunday night, and then by Tuesday night it was gone. Wednesday morning, wake up fine. Felt like that was sort of some kind of DNA upgrade. I don't know what it was, but that's sort of how I feel at looking at it. Was not bad at all. And I'm 57, right? Then it culminates with all these other experiences, and then we have a retreat here at the Joshua House. The last day of the Joshua House of the retreat was a Sunday night. That Sunday was October 4th, 2020. If you add up those numbers, it adds up to 9. Very rare to have any date in the history of man that adds up to just a 9. It could only happen in the 2000s. It can't happen in the 1900s or the 1800s or 1700s, right? So if you think about it, October, which is a 1, the 4th, 1 plus 4 is 5.
5.
2 plus 2 is 9. So that one date is a 9. At 9 p.m., there were 9 people in the room, and I somehow saw this woman as source. I absolutely knew that she was source,
Wow.
right? I was I was in this experience helping her to see that she was source. I was
Oh,
talking to her,
helping her to see it. Because I was going to say,
helping
what
her.
was the distinction between you and her?
Well, this is the weird thing because if I'm source, how is she source? Right.
Because
And
everybody's
in
source.
that moment, I was her servant. I was just here. My whole life, born, everything I did was coming to her to see it. Somehow I came into her reality as who I am to her in her reality. So in her reality, she's source. In my reality, I'm source. In my reality, she's come in there to help me see that I'm source, and I've come into her reality to help her. So this is a high level stuff.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So it makes sense. We are the creators of our reality. We are the source of our reality.
yeah.
And our mission as humans is to understand that we're source of our creators of our reality. And then that mission changes to see the source within everyone else
Everybody.
and
Yeah,
help them. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's an amazing, what an amazing experience it's been for you.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
You know, I think that that is the first step. And I think the teachers of today, I'm going to say, um, the next wave, if you will, the Wayne Dyer group has moved on. I'm not,
Right.
you know what I mean by that.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so, and the next wave comes in, and I think we're moving toward that understanding, that we are source, we are an aspect. We say we're an aspect of that of that consciousness, of course.
Yeah.
And so the process is moving into that space so we can live on the new earth.
Live on the new earth, which means that as we awaken to the fact that we're source, you sort of think if I'm source and I'm all powerful, all creator, I can create anything I want. Once you realize it, all you want to do is help other people in whatever capacity you can.
Yeah,
All you
because
want
you
to
come from
do,
a whole different perspective. Yeah.
yeah, is somehow be this be this inspiration or this example of what it's like to live at this level of source, and then inspire people or aid them somehow so that they come out of the illusion that they're not source, or they start to remember. It's all it really is. It's what it is we're remembering.
Well, yeah, because it's so influenced out of us, through
Yeah.
religion and our parents' beliefs and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And actually, through the system of physical reality itself, we're designed to feel individual and to feel in fear of outside things hurting us or harming us in some way, and that we need to protect ourselves. And so the design of the system is that you come in as a victim. And as you evolve spiritually, you realize you were never a victim. You were always the creator, and you created everything
the chooser. Yeah.
for the spiritual path.
Yeah.
And everyone can channel.
Oh, well, absolutely. Well,
Absolutely.
that leads me to my next. Thank you for that fabulous story. A lot of similarities with mine and many others, because we come to realize, if this is what there is and if this is all there is, I'm out of here because this is not fun and I don't want to do it anymore. And I think, when you get to that point is that next event, that leads us forward.
Yes.
And I think this consciousness that we are teaching from, I believe that you are, that Joshua is part of the consciousness that Joseph is and Abraham and so, because the message is the same. The translation is specific to your group as ours is to us.
Yeah.
And I see that because I see little tinges of differences and I go, okay, that connects over here and that could connect here. And I'm starting to see the broad scope,
The overall
yes. Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, as a channeler, I'm going to ask you questions based on my own experience over the last 17 years or whatever, because I'm not, I'm much more stubborn than you are. I fought with them for 3 years before I believed anything,
Yeah.
but, and I could just see them all the time. But, so through my process, I have had a lot of doubt throughout the entire thing, all at different levels, of course, all lasted, excuse me, all lasted for a lot longer in the beginning than they do now. It might be an hour or two. This time it was a month in and out. It was really messed up. It just really messed me up. And so I want to know from you about your experiences with your human doubt. I want to get a clear, if make it as clear as we can for everybody listening, that we're talking about the human aspect as it relates to what we call the soul aspect you refer to as source, and how that connection is and how it feels to you as a human, and how you deal with the doubt that you go through. And I'm sure you go through it even now. Well, maybe not since you
Yeah.
had that, but so I want to get I want to get your human take on you as a channel, and what Joshua, I want to call him Joseph. I want what Joshua, how you relate to Joshua. Do you feel like they're friends? Do you feel like they are, like, how does it feel to you? So give me the human spiel here.
Okay. So I was the everyman. My whole life was set up that I wanted to blend in. I did not want to be something different. I wanted to be successful. I wanted everyone to like me, to think I'm good, worthy, all that stuff. And so when that first came, I thought, even though I was totally into Abraham. I never told anyone about this, right? And I did like talking about it to the people who also shared that, and I had a lot of friends who did. But I thought me as a channel was weird. So I went around and I found other channels and just immersed myself in that, what they were doing, what they're talking about. And then I got comfortable in how it was coming through me, and I was really satisfied with it because there was something bigger. So my whole life was in search of that something bigger. I knew that there was something big inside of me. And so this allowed me to play with that. Now, the doubt was the same three doubts we all have: rejection, loss, and death. So every fear is one of those. And they're all irrational fears. Death is an irrational fear. I mean, everyone will say it's a rational fear because you don't want to jump out of an airplane without a parachute because you'll die. But there is no death because we're eternal. Loss is the same thing as that. Since you're creating, you can't lose anything. All you're doing is creating it now or not, right? And so that loss is actually an illusion. You can't lose anyone or anything. Once that you have the experience of them, that's on your vibration forever. But rejection is the worst one because we as humans need others to accept us. The problem is that we create these false personas that are designed to get them to like, love, and respect us. Yet they're false, they're not authentic. And so who anyone is liking is this false representation that you're putting out there. So they're never really liking or loving you anyway. They're loving this representation that you have. So as we become more authentic, we become more of who we truly are. And the only way you can do that is saying that those people can't see me. So which is a really important thing, because once you realize you have this awakening moment that you are source, you also have to understand that nobody can see you as source. It'll never happen, right? But if you can see other people as source, well, then you become highly effective in everything you do, because once you see yourself as source and then your purpose becomes to help other people see them source, then you actually have source flowing through you in everything you do. But since it's so weird to be flowing source all the time, it feels so good. You have to get rid of all the fears. The fears have to come up. You have to get them out of your body. And this is what we're not good at doing. We're good at harboring our limitations and propping them up and holding on to our limiting beliefs. We don't want the uncomfortable feeling of pushing past fear. But in order to get to these higher vibrations, you got to let go of the stuff that's keeping you down, which is your belief that something is wrong or bad. And that's only based on limiting beliefs and fear. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Yes, and I'm gonna see. Can I share? I want to. I want to share a visual of the how do I just hit share and just
Share screen. Yep.
share
And then you
screen?
choose which screen to share.
I don't know how do I do it? Multiple simultaneous. Is that how I do it?
Try it.
I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what it's telling me to do. It didn't change. Anyway, crap. I guess I really need to advance. I haven't worked. Forget that. Okay,
You'll
so
figure it.
I'll put
Yeah.
it in. I'll put it in at the end of this video so people can see. But we do a visual of the human aspect actually moving from. If you see a gradation from black to white and all the shades of gray in between, we visualize that, or we teach that as the walking beyond the fearful. We don't say get rid of it. We don't say you have to go back, and you're not either. And
Yeah.
so we say walk beyond the vibrations where that choice is available for you. Know
Mm,
that you can choose your way out,
yeah.
out of the denseness.
Yeah.
So we're saying the same. So the fear, yes, we're not going anywhere with fear. And
Yeah.
because we've lived in fear our entire human existence. And now we get this opportunity to, well, we're going to create, co-create the new human aspect who will live on the new earth with no fear. So we're not going anywhere with fear.
Yeah. Yes. And it's the fear is only there because we have a limiting belief.
Yes.
And the limiting belief exists because there's not enough information. If you had the information, then that would no longer be a limiting belief. So think about the first time that you broke up with a boyfriend or girlfriend. You felt intense fear, right? Intense negative emotion, same
Oh,
thing,
I
fear.
was pissed. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
it. It hurt.
right? It hurt. Now you think about that and it doesn't hurt
Right. Yeah.
because now you have the information. You
Right.
know how it turned
Exactly.
out. You know you
Yeah.
didn't want to be there. You know it was for a purpose. You know it was good that it ended. And so now you don't feel that same negative emotion.
But you know what else I know now, looking back at a circumstance like that? You know, that boy, and it was a boy,
Yeah.
because I was very young,
Yeah.
right? So when we start out, we have the limiting belief. Um, the limiting belief, oh my God, it's so rampant. We don't have no idea how powerful we are, but that limited belief goes along with our vibration of our wisdom and our knowing at that time of who we are. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't crapped out of us so early, we would be a lot better off, of course. If
Yet,
parents were to tell their kids who they are from the beginning,
yes.
they'd have a much more, joyful
Yes.
experience for a lot longer.
Yes. And it's funny too, because yet that experience leads us on this trajectory
Yes.
to end up where we are now.
Yes.
So that's why it's really important to look back at the past and say that there were no mistakes. It was all
No.
perfect. It all led to where you are now.
Yes.
You're just using your imagination to imagine that things could have been different, but that's not true. It happened as it happened perfectly.
Perfect vibrational agreement.
Yeah.
That's what we say they are. When you have agreement, you have understanding, and understanding brings expansion,
Yes.
because you can't. That's why Joseph, from the beginning, and I want to talk about Joshua in a minute, but from the beginning, Joseph said, you must live it, live it, live it. The first time I ever wrote with them in '09, first time, live it, live it, live it. I had no idea. I'm like, live what? I had no idea what they're talking about. But now and through the course of all this time, they have said, you must not only example it, but you can't example it until you have experienced it.
So this is a super good point. Now, each of us has this set of experiences that one of the things that we do in the boot camp is you write your life story. And in that life story, the time and date of your birth, your parents, your siblings, where you were born on the planet, even your name. Then there was something about you that's more unique. And that comes out, like your talents and attributes and your way of thinking and things, comes out by certain experiences that you have to have. And so we see a lot of people who have maybe even traumatic experiences in their youth. And then they go through those experiences, and this becomes the thing that they can use to awaken.
Right.
And once they realize that those experiences propelled them on this path to awaken, they can then help everyone else who's going through that sort of same experiences, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting how that works
It
out.
is interesting.
And
Well,
that's why you have to live it.
you have to live it. And anybody, and we all know this because we're surrounded by fake people. We are from the time we're little. I mean, people just don't know who they are, including
Right.
I didn't know for a long time. We just don't know.
Yeah.
And which is why we're here, I guess. But we go through these periods of recognizing it in others and in ourselves. And I think that was a big thing for me. Why am I doing this? I don't want to do this, always pleasing other people and miserable at the same time. A lot of us
Yeah.
get caught up in that because it's an unworthiness,
Yeah.
it's an unworthiness thing hanging out there. But yeah, and they said, unless you have the experience, you cannot teach it because your teaching is not authentic and it can be felt
Right.
because it's
Right.
a vibrational teaching. Really,
Exactly.
you
Yep.
feel the truth of Joshua, you feel the truth of your own message,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Exactly.
So
Yep.
talk to me about Joshua.
So Joshua is a group of non-physical teachers. And they said, so when talking about writing a book, they said, okay, think about a bunch of people around a boardroom.
Wait, I'm going to
All,
stop you before you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
I'm going to ask this question because they're kind of telling me to. So
sure.
because about channeling. Okay, so I know I could describe how I hear what we say here. I want you to describe how you hear, how you communicate with Joshua from a human perspective.
What I do is meditate first. Then then I sort of close my eyes, start breathing. I bring them in to my consciousness.
And how do you
I,
do that?
I imagine a white light. It's changed recently, but now I imagine this white light just shooting on top of me.
Hmm.
Then now it's changed, but now I imagine that there's a group of teachers behind me that they have a hand on each shoulder, right? And then they stretch out in front of me infinitely. Okay. And then I imagine all the other entities who will ever talk or be part of this conversation that we're having as we're doing it live. And so it's all of the guides of who's
You're
ever going
filling
to
up your
listen
room.
to
You
this, right?
you
In the
packed
room
you're in
or,
your room. Oh my
yeah.
God.
And then I set my intentions. I'm going to be clear. I'm going to get in the background. I'm going to let it flow. I'm going to have faith that it's coming out purposely and fully. And I'm just going to say what I receive. And so it actually comes in as words now. So I'm just saying the words.
Yeah.
Maybe it's ideas and I'm translating it really quickly, but it just feels like words. And I understand most of what it is as it's doing it, but it's like watching a movie later. I can't remember all of it unless someone talks about something, then I can remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. I don't even so I could describe it. Yeah. It's blocks. I think now I see it as blocks of vibration. I don't hear the words unless I ask for one. If
Uh,
they're trying to um, convey something to me and I can't find a word that feels like it matches, I'll say, give me the word. And then they will. Sometimes
ah,
audibly, it's pretty funny.
yeah.
And they crack jokes and stuff, but it's a vibrational exchange.
Yeah.
It's just a vibrational exchange. It wasn't as I tried to in the beginning when it first started happening. I was confused by it, of course, because I really wanted to believe it. I was always interested in this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to turn my fan on. Sorry. I was always interested. So when it started happening, I was thrilled, but I was really scared too because the last thing I wanted was to get anything wrong. You know,
Mm.
so I go right into doubt. It's not
Mm.
who are you? What do you want? Kind of thing. But
Mm.
they taught me over the course of a long time. I tried to watch other channels and I went and saw many and I'm just fascinated by it. And everybody had their own procedure, their own ritual. And so I tried to do all those things and they all worked, but it didn't feel right for me. And finally I said to them, what's the right way for me? And they said, you can go through all the rituals you want, Cindy. We'll support anything you want, but all you have to do is focus.
Yeah. All
And
you
I
have to do
said,
is
why didn't you
focus.
tell me? And
Yeah.
they said, we've been telling you, you've been out of alignment. You're not hearing us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that
Yeah.
was pretty good. So then it started all new doubt with the focus,
Mm.
I just
Interesting.
kicked and screamed. Yeah. But now it's just a focus.
One
And
thing I thought was that if it was coming from somewhere else, it would have a different voice. And I've heard a couple other people say that there is a different voice, but for me,
Yeah.
they've said, no, these are thoughts. You're receiving your thoughts.
And
You've
we are
always
you.
received your thoughts. They've always been coming from other
Yes.
places. You've never manufactured thoughts. You're receiving
Right.
thoughts, and this is how you receive them. Yeah.
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 And Joseph said, why are you trying to split us up? We're trying to bring us together. We are
Right.
you. That's why it sounds
We
like you.
are you. Yeah. Yeah.
Of
And
course
that's
it
what I
sounds like you.
realize
They
now.
said, what do you want us to sound like? I said, I don't know. And they said, we
Yeah.
sound like us because we're you.
Have you okay, so my fear is around supernatural stuff. So I don't want to see anything weird. I've had a couple experiences that have been like a little weird, but I am in fear of that. Like I'm afraid of ghosts. I don't want to see anything supernatural.
Well, let me get okay. So they're saying right now, they're saying you can only attract what you are putting out. So if you are saying if you know, it's like anything. First of all, you are at a level now that even if you were to see something, you would your translation of it would translate it at your matching vibration.
Yeah.
So when you can't drag that fear with you, you're already on the other side.
Yeah.
So that aspect that is fearful, just take the hand of that aspect and walk it forward beyond that realm where that fear exists from when
Yeah.
you were a little kid.
Yes,
So,
when I was a little kid.
yeah.
Yep.
So, yes. And so, but now, so now you have, what did you say before?
I have what
You have
awakening.
your
I
belief
have
is a
more information.
reflection of,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Now you have more information that there is nothing to fear. You know,
Right.
I have a lot of, not a lot. I have some intuitive friends that believe in the dark uh, entities that attach themselves to people,
Yeah.
and I have never believed any of that. That's not to now. I'm not saying it doesn't exist for them. It does on that vibrational timeline. I'm just not there. It's
Yeah.
not a match to me. I don't. I think well, it doesn't matter what I think. I don't experience it because it's not a match to me. It's just the creating of your own reality. And so you're
Well,
creating that too with
I
that.
just heard Abraham say, there is no source of evil. There's
Right.
just a lack of good in that
Right.
experience.
That's
Right.
right.
And so it matches this fear
Yes.
is in this fear of evil. This is how it's manifested in your perception of reality. Right.
Well, let us give you this too, that the thought that there is something that could do you harm on a vibrational level or even on a physical level from a different supernatural space that you talk about, um, that thought alone is out of alignment with who you really are, which
Of
is why
course.
it manifests as fear.
Yeah.
So we don't say, that there is we're trying to move away from I'm trying to move away from the fear and love, and we're just saying in alignment and out of alignment because it takes some of the pressure off,
Very good.
because when you
Yeah.
say fear, everybody goes like this. What's the fear? What's the fear today? We
Right.
say it's just out of alignment, just out of alignment. And
Yeah.
you can spot it when it's out of alignment because of the way it feels.
Yeah.
If it was in alignment, it wouldn't be fearful. So
So
you in that on that choosing ground that you have there, when it starts to come up, I don't want to say anything weird. I don't want to, you say, wait a minute, that's not alignment. If I'm in alignment, I'm only going to see is love.
of course. Of course. Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
However, as I'm raising this vibration and feeling better and feeling more aligned and feeling more worthy and understanding who I truly am and knowing that I'm the source of my reality and am one with source and can't be separated from source, and everything is coming for me to get higher vibrational things, and I do not need the fear and that lower vibrational stuff anymore. I'm consciously doing it. I feel an opening of my heart, and at the same time having to process really basic fears like like ancient fears, primal fears, the fear of being attacked by animals, these things that are not in my reality. Somehow they feel like I feel like I'm processing them for all of humanity right now.
Okay. You want me to, okay. You want us to tell you what this is?
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
All right. So in this incarnation and why you're here, why I'm here, um, we are what Joseph refers to as the captains of our human aspects. All the aspects that we have lived as that are on other vibrational timelines right now, we're sometimes referred to as past life. It's nothing
Right.
past. The
Yeah.
vibration is still active.
Yes.
And that vibration, because you were in those positions
Right.
and you are experiencing the vibration of that aspect stepping forward, asking you to expand it to where you are so all your aspects can move forward into the new human aspect. You've
Wow.
got these aspects that have fear. Of course, we've lived in it eons of time.
Yeah.
We've never not lived in it. So
Yeah.
so all of the lives that we have had, and I've had thousands, so have you,
Yeah.
all of those lives, sometimes because we always did this, didn't end so well.
Right. And
So
we have the ability now to
yes,
process these on another level where to us it's
yes,
ridiculous because we're living this safe life. We're
yes,
living this abundant life. We're living this in this wonderful time when we don't have the fear of saber-toothed tigers.
that's
And
right.
so now
That's right.
I'm raising the vibration of all versions of me at the same
Yes.
time so that we can all move
You
together into this new reality.
those aspects that have that fear, that is not your current, okay, this gets a little circular. The current Gary right now did not, God, it's so weird. I want to say you did not come in with that vibration, although it was you because it was left here when you left in that fear.
Yeah.
Did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up the human vibration where you left off because
Right.
it remains dormant until the soul focuses on it again and you
Mm-hmm.
become human or it becomes human.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're here. The saber-toothed tiger guy lived, let's say 3,000 years ago. So he's got that fear, but that you can't, the vibration doesn't go away. It's part of your collective human aspect vibration.
But from my new level of understanding,
You can
because
bring it
I
forward.
have a belief system that is elevated from their belief system,
Yes.
I can process it for them.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
that's what they're asking. That's part of you. It's a vibration you're
And it's
carrying.
easy for me to do it.
It is
It's
easy. And
just
that's
all it
it's
is feel a little bit anxious, a little bit tense,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but all you have to do, like in our book too, they took me through this process in a meditation because I had this thing that was hanging around me my whole life. Had to do with my father. We all have that stuff,
Yeah.
and I could not, for the life of me, get rid of this. Everybody's telling me get rid of it, get rid of it. Just don't think it. Of course, that never works.
Right.
So I went into meditation one day. This is when they first started teaching me about the aspects of the human
Mhm.
and these vibrations. And I went I went over to this other timeline where that situation, where that vibration was existing and causing this angst in me today. And
Mm.
so what we did was we revisited that timeline and we changed, and that situation, the ending situation that ended out of alignment, and we changed the ending to an in alignment. We walked out of that fear, we shifted it, we expanded it. And so now that aspect steps forward with me. And
Mm.
that vibration is now what some would call healed, we call expanded. It's beyond that understanding of fear.
It's so interesting to talk about. We're talking at a really high level now.
Yeah.
And as I go back into my experience of awakening, here's what the components of that was: that I understood that I was love. That's all I am, is love. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
As the understanding of love, this incredible feeling happens, really intense. Then everyone who was in the room, there were 8 people, I think, in the room. I saw them. They were lit up. They were sitting in the positions they were in. They were calm. They were nodding to me. Yes, you're getting it. Yes, you're getting your understanding. And then I said, oh my God, I know you. I know you. The illusion was gone. I saw them as who they were, their authentic selves, right?
Oh my
And
God.
I
it's got
couldn't
goosebumps.
believe that I knew them and that I had been with them for eon. In my physical reality, they were just these random people that happened to show up for this one time. In this, they were like, this is my group all coming together, this unlocking.
Yeah.
Then what happened was I saw the slides of every life I've ever had, including life as an amoeba, right?
Wow.
And it went like that. And the intensity of this. So it seems like it was both the the greatest joy that that life ever had and the greatest fear at the same time. And it only lasted for a fraction of a second because it was like,
Right.
and I had to sit down. And then I, then the people's faces, they completely understood me.
Yeah.
And I was talking, but they didn't need to talk because they completely understood me. I understood them. And then I could say, I get to finally be myself. I'm finally me and
I
you can be
finally
you,
know.
right? How
Yeah.
great that feeling is. And then I went back down slowly from bright light, no source of the light. We're in the same room, but there's nothing but light and each other. And they're looking at me and I have total clarity and they understand me. And then I come slowly down in like 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. And as I'm coming down, it gets back to reality. It was actually a cloudy day and storming outside and lightning bolts behind me as this was happening. And coming down, and their facial expression went from absolute knowing what I'm thinking and all about me and understanding me to total back down to normal confusion. Right. And it was so obvious. So from
Wow.
bright light now to cloudy skies inside a room. It was so interesting.
Wow.
And then I tried to explain to them the experience. I couldn't remember any of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one of the women who's in the boot camp, she started speaking in tongues really quickly. And I look at her,
Wow.
relax, it all came back. And then I could
Wow.
remember it as the most visceral experience of my life. Everything.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're blowing my mind, man. You know, when you were saying that you were all of a sudden you saw all of a sudden you saw all your lives, I got this vision of you just almost running like the speed of light over your timelines, over
Yeah.
these vibrational timelines where all your aspects were.
Yeah.
And as a soul, from that perspective you had at that time, that soul relived, res- resurrected all of those vibrations, remembered them because it's part of the soul.
Right.
And the human and almost like the human aspect and the soul running the timelines together. The
Yeah.
human aspect still had the fear,
Yeah.
the vibration.
Yeah. And that
Wow.
this was the culmination
Yeah.
of all
Wow.
of that from the beginning. And it was like, oh my God, this entire thing was for this one moment.
Wow.
All of that life was for this one moment of clarity. And
Yeah.
then you do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to as an event. You know,
Yeah.
they say it's not on your time frame, Cindy. It's all event driven. Everything
Wow.
is event driven. It's all vibrational agreement. And when you were ready with no resistance, they threw you right in the middle of it.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What a great experience.
So I see now that I awoken at some certain level. You know, of course, there's still doubt. I still feel like
Yeah,
myself,
of course.
but I have this new belief system. And that now my entire mission in life is to help other people. And then I know that the universe is supporting me.
Yeah.
So I care nothing about income or status
Yeah.
or
Supports
any of these
itself.
things. All I want to do is this.
Yeah.
How, and then I see when I can help awaken another person, that's the greatest satisfaction. Then their mission turns to awakening. And then it's like this chain reaction
Yeah.
where now there's 50% of us, we're helping the other 50% awaken. Everything changes. Nobody cares about
Yeah.
status or wealth or power
Yeah.
or, you know, and then the thought is that, okay, so there's two people still living in fear in the old approach to life, and they're exploring fear and limiting beliefs. And so one is a perpetrator of a crime and one's a victim of a crime. Well, we as awakened 20 or 30 people will go and support the victim, and 20 or 30 people will go and support the perpetrator to help them see that they're just playing in fear, that this is not real to who they all are, right? Imagine not throwing someone in jail, but we are supporting them in love equal to the victim because they're both participating together in this experience. And we
Well,
now, our
yeah.
mission is to help them see who they truly are.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. And you know, the um that God, there's so much that's why it's so important to teach kids from a very early age who they are, because the perp in your story, and the victim too, both choosing from out of alignment positions, which lead to these kind of experiences.
which
So
they both
it's a
need.
teaching
Right.
of who they are.
Yeah.
And at that level, it is a teaching, until they can get to the point where, and it sounds sometimes condescending, and it's so not. It's just an
No.
awareness thing. It's
Yeah.
just awareness. And I know that I get so thrilled. All I do is teach this stuff. People hate me sometimes because I can't shut up about it. Will
I
you
know, me
stop
too.
telling me not to think that? Well, what are you doing? And and it's crazy. And but I'm so passionate about it, just like you are, that it's so important because people just now I get more than ever. Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do in a
Right.
whole new light.
Right.
They just don't know. So many people have said to me, I didn't know I had a choice.
Right. I
And
didn't know I
yes,
had
I
a
didn't
limiting
either.
belief.
Yeah,
I didn't know you
right.
could change a limiting belief.
That's
Right.
right. That's
I
right.
didn't realize the limiting belief was limiting. I didn't know what fear was.
That's right.
One of the things that
Yes.
I've gone through lately is this Christ consciousness of, hey, you better not do what Jesus did because you're going to be persecuted and executed, right? You have to play it small. And if you get big, they're going to come after you, right? And so I have to go through this and say, this is all an illusion. This is all set up. It's
That's
not
part
true.
of an aspect. You see, you've always,
Right.
just like me, you've always been a teacher.
Yep.
And another, again, most of those times didn't end so well. We got our heads cut off. We were in chains. We were all
Yeah.
that, drowned, burned, whatever, for teaching. And that's why you still have these beliefs. That's why you still have the vibration of the belief. That's all it
Yeah.
is, the vibration of it. Now
Yeah.
you know more though.
Yeah. And I'm working through them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Walk that aspect
they
forward.
feel so real.
Yeah, of course,
Right.
well, they are because you're feeling the physical manifestation of that vibration of fear that
Yeah.
you've had for eons of time, like we all have.
Yeah. And just been ignoring it up until this point
Well, it was
where,
part of you. Oh, it
yeah,
was normal because we
it was
live in
normal.
fear. We're taught from an early age. It's a fearful world out there. Protect yourself. You're going to be scared. You're going to do it. We train to defend
Defend.
instead of to love. And the
Right. We're
thing is that
trained,
we
yeah,
go ahead.
as victims, how to try and
Yes,
control your
other people.
reality,
Yeah.
which led to
Instead
this,
of creating it. Right.
yeah, led to this amazing world we live in now, but
Yeah.
it's still derived in fear. Okay. So here's a big thing I got is that every single aspect of your life, all the people in it, all the things you're aware of, all the events of your life are only there to guide you towards this awakening moment. So the moon landing was inspired to and I was 6 years old when it happened, right? So I witnessed the moon landing, that whole effort of the whole country coming together to create this thing. It was only there for me to awaken. All technology, all human things, all inventions, all books I've ever read, all experiences I've ever had were to guide me to that one moment of awakening, because that's where the true power is of humanity. Once one person awakens, then they start flowing source more clearly, more purely. They give up this, what they think they need, and they go towards what's truly momentous and inspiring and awe-provoking, is helping the awakening of others. And then you see another person awaken, and it's like boom, and your heart expands, their heart expands, you bring more love into
Yeah.
physical reality, and this chain reaction starts. It's really interesting to think that all the stuff that I thought I wanted in the past, I didn't truly want. What I truly want is this clarity and this
Well,
feeling and all that.
we would say that you truly did want them, and of course you had the desires of that vibration, you know,
Of which vibration?
of the vibration where those desires are for that reason. Now, we would say there's nothing you can't have, because I want to live a luxurious life. I
Of
want to
course.
live the beauty of this world. I want to experience the beauty, and that's part of my visual
Yeah.
is living on top of an ocean. I mean, I want to see it all the time. The stuff that I want to look at, I want to see it, and I
Yeah.
don't want any third dimensional blockage, I don't
Right.
even, so abundance is, when you said that you don't care about all those things, I get that, because when you reach that level of understanding, you don't have to care because it's part of that vibration.
It comes anyway. It comes anyway,
It's
right?
part of
I don't
abundance.
have to figure it out.
No, it's
Right.
part of that. It's part of alignment.
I just get into this focus
Yeah.
of this vibration, which
Yeah.
is the vibration of love.
Right.
And then I'm surrounded by the vibration of love.
Right. That's right.
And everything that matches that vibration comes.
Comes.
I don't
Well,
have to figure it out. It just comes.
yeah, you're a magnet to it when you're in
Right.
alignment with it.
Yeah.
Bashar says, crap, I just lost it. I love Bashar,
Yeah, I do too.
What did he say about abundance? So he defines abundance in many different ways. He's got 7 steps that are fabulous. But he says, we define abundance as having what you
Having everything you
what you
need to do
want.
what you need to do when you need to do it.
Yes.
Josh
thank
was
you.
exactly the same thing.
Yes. Yeah.
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 You need to breathe. Have all the air you want.
Yeah. It's in
All
the
the air you
moment.
want.
Yeah. In every
Right.
moment you can have a choice. So it's all about choosing for us.
Yeah.
We're teaching choosing, and right now we've teaching a lot of things, but we're choosing right now, and knowing that your choice is what creates your ultimately your reality, but your next experience.
Okay. So from the perspective of Joseph, we're all into here's what I'm sort of starting to get, is that humanity has experienced a infinite amount of limited perspectives.
Mm.
And now Source is saying, well, now what about if humanity could experience an infinite amount of limitless perspectives?
Yeah.
And it sort of feels like as soon as the last human becomes awake into their reality as Source, then Source becomes humanity, or now we're together as one, right?
That's
and
the
then
new human aspect.
that's the new human.
Yeah.
Then our focus is how do we take care in love of the animals and the plants and the planet.
Well, see, but there will be no questions on the new earth. There'll be no
Right.
questions like that, because
Yeah.
it's part of our nature.
It'll just be streaming through us. We'll just be passionate
We'll be
about these
choosing
things.
from love in every moment.
And
Creating.
if you think about, okay, so in this now light world, who's going to work in the factories, right? All of this will be obvious solutions
Everything
that
will be different.
accessed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything will be different. Business will be different. Words, the language will be different. We'll be communicating more vibrationally there. I mean, we're creating what they've referred to as a new species of human that will live in constant blending and constant communication with the soul of us. We're going to be a new thing. We're going to be a new thing.
Will we then cease to die?
We don't die now.
Okay, so we'll still have our physical form though.
Our physical form will be very different, because remember, the physical body is a physical manifestation of the physical thoughts.
Yeah.
Just like any manifestation. And it was built to accommodate this vibration, this realm of denseness. It was built. So we won't need an immune system, because who wants to be immune from love?
Right.
We don't want to, there'll be no sickness, because there's no out of alignment thoughts, which are the creators of all sickness.
Let's see if that you could get to a complete aligned way of being now with very, very little resistance.
Yeah.
Then your body would naturally shed itself of anything that's not in that vibration. Which means that you would be in perfect health until you were ready to transition.
Well, yes, but there are some yes and no. You said there's still inklings of fear. First of all, when we don't have any fear, we won't be here, because there's no vibrational agreement anymore.
Right. So we won't be in physical reality without fear. Well, Joshua says this all the time too. there's a reason that we're
Yes.
here, that fear is
Yes.
here, all that stuff.
We have the body we have the physical body to live in this plane of
Denseness.
consciousness on the physical earth.
Right.
But so the new earth will be more vibrational. They said, I asked them when they were talking about this a while ago, and I said, well, because I'm picturing kind of like light bodies,
Mhm.
how they illustrate the light
This is
body.
exactly what I saw too.
Yeah,
Was
good.
the
Okay.
body was illuminated from within.
Yeah.
It almost looked like a video game. It was
Yes.
so real, so intense, so
Translucent.
beautiful.
Yes.
But they were wearing
Yeah.
the same clothes. And those
Yes.
clothes were just brightly lit
Yeah.
and white,
Yeah.
but then you're in a white space, and out of that white space they just illuminate.
Yes.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Like
So
flashlights sitting there. Yeah.
okay, so let's say that I'm awakened, I'm living at the highest vibration of any time, I'm incorporating all versions of me, I'm doing this work to help others awaken. um, the earth shifts into a new reality. How does that work? Do I shift with this body? Do I transition, be born into this new reality? What is that?
Okay. Well, you said something early on, and I was focused on it. Now I'm thinking. Um, oh, I know. Okay. So when you use the term awakened, when everybody is awakened, we would say that term works when you say it in reference to awaken to more possibilities of who you are. There's not a stopping level.
Right.
We are still expanding.
Right.
We are still expanding. We are still everything.
That was like to a point, though, to a new
Yes,
structural
understanding.
belief
Yes.
system. Yeah,
Yes.
understanding.
Opened.
Right.
You're opened up.
Right.
Yes, awakened, open. Yes, absolutely. Um, some people are teaching and some people believe that you're going to wake up one day and you're going to be on the new earth. And we say, not likely. I mean, it's not this body is not a vibrational match to the new earth, which is why you are all creating a new version of you that will accommodate the new vibration of you, which is us. Your new human aspect is here with us. Your new human aspect is there are no words to describe it physically for you yet that you could understand, only because the creation of it is up to you.
Yeah.
So the words that will define it will come with the creation of it. So this is not a transition that is physical in the sense that you will experience it as Gary.
Right.
You will experience it as your soul, just like everybody else will.
Yeah.
But it's not like this just Dorothy stepping out of the house when it lands in Oz,
Right.
and everything becomes colorful. Now,
Yeah.
many of you will experience the new earth. You will all experience the new earth the way you visualize it. And Cindy visualizes it as the evolved Garden of Eden, where there is just beauty. It is just beauty. And it is just beauty because remember, there is no fear for any aspect of it.
Well, is it still physical?
It is a new physical. It has a physicality to it because it too is a new species of Earth. We're using the word species because there isn't one yet.
Yeah.
But the new human is a new species of human. There is no agreement between. I'm going to preface this by saying, in human terms, there is no agreement between the current human aspect and the new human aspect from a physical level. From our level, it's all connected. You're all connected. We are connected to, if you want to say it this way, both of you right now, both of you are aspects of us, and we are expanding. And that expansion includes the new you, the new us.
Yeah.
It's a big subject. Yeah, it's a big subject, of oneness. It's all oneness.
Right.
But this is something that the human aspect has never had the opportunity to before, because it all comes with the human collective awareness level. We will never give you anything, and you know this from your own team. We will never offer you anything you can't understand. There's no point to that. Only humans do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And it's interesting because as I'm going to this new level of awareness, I'm getting in higher level things and teaching it to people that in the past I would have said they're not ready for this, but they are.
Well, your audience will always come to the vibration because you,
Right.
like me, we are teaching from that level. We're teaching the message from that level. So we don't have to go out looking for the people. They will come to the vibration
Right.
because this is not a 3D business. I
No.
know you know this. I'm saying this for because people try to cram the 3D, say, well, I'm teaching 5D and I'm going to do it, based on 3D processes. It doesn't
Right.
work that way.
Nope.
There's no agreement there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
so
yeah,
interesting.
so it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
Everything is new. And we are teaching you and you are teaching them and they will teach them and it goes on. And there are teachers for us, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
We are always expanding,
Yep.
as you know. So this is the eternal process of evolution
Yeah.
we set in front of you. And you came here and we're so grateful that you uh, made that choice to come and assist in this evolving of the human collective,
Yeah.
as did Cindy.
Well, it's once you realize what you're doing, then you feel
The
clear
passion.
and joyous and effective and have gratitude and satisfaction for what you're doing, which doesn't work in the 3D world.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I've gotten a lot of questions along the way. Well, how are you going to make a living? How are you going to, what do you mean you're going to go off and tell, I don't have to worry about, I don't worry about it. I don't
Yeah.
worry about it. You know what? I said to them one day, I said, okay, I give. And you know what? You want me to live this stuff? Then I'm not going to worry about anything over here. You take care of it. Then I know, because if I, they said to me one time, they said, Cindy, if you can't example this message, don't even
Yeah.
bother to teach it because
Right.
that's like, buying diet pills from the fat guy. Why would anybody want to do that? You
Yeah.
know? So you know
Yeah.
that too.
Well, also, this idea of leading compared to the old idea of following some guru or and you can see all those guys being,
Massacred.
the massacre. The leading is simply, I am,
Exampling.
I'm example, but don't follow me because essentially you need to get into your inner self and
Yeah.
communicate that way.
Yeah.
Lead yourself. And if you look, I mean, religion literally calls them sheep.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
the sheep, follow me. Well, that worked for a couple thousand years. Now we're getting to this point where no, now it's time for you to think for
Whole,
yourself and
yes,
follow
whole
your own
different
leading.
level of awareness.
Right.
Whole different level of awareness. They had none. Well, I
Yeah.
won't say that. Of course they had. Everybody's conscious. Everything's conscious. People say, well, people are unconscious. No, they're not. They're conscious. They're unaware.
Yeah,
Everything's
they're
conscious.
conscious, they're unaware.
Yeah.
And also it keeps them feeling safe because this is a
Yes.
scary world, especially 1,000 years ago.
That's right. Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
cling to something. And this really opened up the first possibility of hope and even positive thought.
Yeah.
Well, I may be having a horrible life here, but at least I go to heaven, right? Now they
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
say positive thoughts, right? And
Man.
then it's really interesting to see that graph of GDP of the world over time. And it literally goes like this. From 10,000 years ago to 1895, like that.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
this is what's enabled us to have this higher level thought.
Yes.
That now we got the basics out of the way. We can see, we have communication. We can allow ourselves to find new ideas. We can be guided more easily. There's less criticism and rejection compared to how it was. And if you follow the Joshua Live podcast, if you look at where the people are, number one is California, then America, then Canada, then Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, the Netherlands,
placed.
Norway, Sweden, and France. And France is a big one.
France is a big one.
Especially considering not all of them speak English, right?
Yes.
So in fact, there's a woman, Audrey, who teaches the boot camp in French. She translated it and she teaches it in French to people living in France. And it's amazing how, so you look at cultures like Italy and Russia, and Eastern European, those cultures are more rigid in their system of
Oh, yeah. Old
who are
time.
you?
Yeah.
You
Right.
are nobody, right?
Right. That's right.
And they're catching up though. Stuff is happening. We
Slowly.
have
Yeah.
our first Mexican-born person in the boot camp, and he uh, became successful and was living really a Western lifestyle, but still with the dogma of
Of
Catholic
course.
religion, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's happening so fast.
Yeah.
The evolution from deeply devout religious people in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s and 90s to now where
Yeah.
it's more relaxed, and you have
Yeah.
a president who is not religious, and is accepted. So it's interesting how
He's
50 years,
religious.
well,
He's
he holds up
religious.
the Bible
He's
like
well, I
that.
don't want to get into politics, but yeah, yeah, yeah. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean
Yeah.
because it's so drilled in. I was raised Catholic too, but I didn't know anything about the religion because, just taught to fear God, just keep your head low, just stay
Yeah.
under the radar.
Stay under the radar, which is
Yeah.
why it's so hard. I had no religion growing up. In fact, I had this real animosity towards religion, which now I understand what that was and why it was that way. But all my experiences with Christianity, which was, Presbyterian kind of things and boarding in Christians, was always a manifestation event for me, always an
Yeah.
issue. But I was able to go in 7 years from first channeling to now pretty easily
Yeah.
compared to someone who is in the dogma
Oh my
of a
God.
religion, right?
They don't let go. They just
Yeah.
don't let go. And that's going to be, I think we're going to touch on in our teachings too, on the Christianity and opening up, the evolved version of something. Won't
One thing
say,
that I
but
had to understand was the Christ consciousness, which have you read I Am the Word by Paul Sillig?
yes.
Okay, so this is all about the Christ consciousnous and the awakening, right?
Yep. Yep.
And you're accepting the Christ consciousness, but not that Jesus is the Christ consciousness, that Jesus accepted the Christ
Yes.
consciousness, right? And then he was able, and of course, that entire life led to the creation of an organized religion that was necessary to build society at some form. Of course, there was problems with that because there's a lot of fear put into that. But what I got in my downloads was that every single word of the Bible was in place, intact, as it was intended, and
Which
for a
version of the
reason.
Bible?
Huh? Yeah,
Which
exactly. Which
version are you
version?
talking about?
It
Yeah.
just came that way. My belief my whole life was there was no printing press. How did they recreate the Bible? Some guy said, no, let's make it this way. This is my belief system. And I, in this 14 days of downloads, one of them was I woke up at 11:11, and that was the Christ consciousness, right? Which was highly limiting. One time I woke up at 8:11. So 8 represents the infinite nature of man, right? Infinity standing up. And the 11 is the limitation man puts on himself, right?
Wow.
So the 11:11 was Christ consciousness, which was limited, but it was a structure that was in place, right? And there's these 4 pillars that you might think of as 11:11. And so it was like, accept that this was part and perfect of the system of evolution. Don't knock it down or anything,
Oh, absolutely
right?
not.
Realize that it was
Yes.
important as it
It was
was
a perfect manifestation from that vibrational timeline for the awareness of the human collective at that time.
to get us here. Right.
Yes, because we're always evolving. And every time we evolve into a new vibrational timeline, there's more opportunities for expansion, which means there's more opportunities to choose alignment.
Yeah.
It's like they've likened it to, I'm going to date myself now, walking into a 7-Eleven, and now today walking into the Costco warehouse.
Right.
And they're saying you have to understand that as you move into a new vibration, you include, if you anticipate it, you include all of the opportunities of manifestation from that vibration. It's like this.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So we just get more and more aware.
From your perspective then, what is the value of these teachings on the average person who finds it? To the average person who's listening to this now, what is the purpose of these teachings coming forward from all of us who are doing it?
Yeah.
And there are more and more and more and more and
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And I have a passion of introducing people to everyone else. And that's,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found you right
So,
away. Yeah.
So I want to talk about that later too. But I believe, from my perspective, it is, and from my experience with it, that there are all levels. Joseph told me early on that our message is for teachers, just like yours is, because a person who is, and this is not condescending, this is not anything but for explanation, a person who is a devout Southern Baptist, I live in Atlanta, you live in the South, a devout Southern Baptist clinging to that Bible, and they are so faithful, and they are some of the most loving people you'll ever meet.
Yes,
They're also some of the
absolutely.
most hypocritical people you'll ever meet, but we all go through those things, right?
Yeah.
So, but somebody like that will not, I don't think, as this message would never, they would never look at it, would never be a vibrational agreement, it would never come to them. That's
Right.
why they say that who's ever watching this now, who's ever drawn to watch you or watch me or listen to either of our messages when we're together or not, they are of the same awareness level, and they are seeking more, and they're being drawn. Their souls are guiding. Our souls are always guiding us to a message.
So what I've discovered is that I'm attracting teachers,
Yes.
some who know they're teachers,
Yes.
and some who totally doubt it.
Yes.
But they're all teachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I had every one of mine have been, every single one, aware. Yeah, of course they are. And Joseph said, don't let them come. They'll be drawn. One woman who wanted, I think, she was very intuitive, but she wanted kind of like a psychic reading, which was kind of weird. It was weird. And I said, we don't really do that, And she said, well, this was very interesting. And I was surprised by it too. She was talking to Joseph, and she said, I know I have a collective. Can you give me their name?
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph immediately said no.
Yeah.
And she got mad.
Yeah,
And,
because you can't follow someone else.
well, they said to her, you're just like mine was. And I don't know how, well, yes, I know how you got to Joshua now,
I asked.
but yeah. And their revealing their name to me was a whole rigmarole, was a whole unfolding that took me, that expanded my awareness more and more with every event. And it was a 6-month period by the time I knew they were not Abraham, but they were the evolved Abraham. And it was 6 months before they told me their name. And why, and in that 6-month period, they told me who they were in relationship to Abraham and Seth, and that whole evolution of the message resulted in this. So they said to her, you have got to be on your own journey, and your discovery of them, what you're referring to as them, is part of your own expansion. So we're not going to tell you who it is. It's for you to unfold.
Yeah.
It's for you to unwrap yourself, because the lessons, the experiences that you will help others with are part of your experience.
You have to go through it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. She wasn't happy about that, but and I got really, and I said, well, shoot, who can I refer her to that will tell her, and I said, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to refer you to anybody. Go find it on your own. I want out of this thing. I was very uncomfortable, because I understood why she was asking, but I understood why they said.
And the teachings are never, here's what you do, that you have to do this. They're like, here's a perspective.
Yes.
If you look at it from this perspective, you'll know what to do.
Yes.
Right. It'll just
perspective is everything. Yeah. Just fabulous.
Yeah.
Just fabulous. This was so much fun.
So
I'm just loving this.
So your podcast now is how long normally? Do you care?
Oh, what time is it? Oh, 4:44.
Oh my God, look at that.
We got 4s. Yeah. So I'm just babbling, I don't care, because I think it's really good. So we're going to leave. We're going to leave you guys now. So sorry, we were babbling, but Gary, tell us about your fabulous books, where to find you, how to follow you, how to get in touch with this boot camp, amazing thing that you do. Tell us all the good stuff.
Okay. The best way to do it is just search Gary Temple Bodley, and then on Google, everything will come up. The website is theteachingsofjoshua.com. The podcast is Joshua Live. And that's been going on now for 5 years, 4 years or something. And it's getting to higher and higher levels. And we're doing this cool thing Joshua did, these 5 series of abundance. And tomorrow we're going to start doing 5 series of relationships.
Wow.
So it's really growing. Um, Joshua has a boot camp that is an 8-week experiential process. And this is an interesting thing because you can listen to all the podcasts, you can read all the books, you can watch all the videos. That's passive. You learn through experience. And it's interesting because it's 8 weeks. And once you finish the 8 weeks, once you're in the boot camp, you're in for life. So you finish 8 weeks, start another boot camp. And we
Wow.
start, and it really is. And what's happening is absolutely amazing.
Wow.
These new levels of clarity that I'm on, where I'm boot camp 11 now. So I've gone through 11 boot camps. I see the perfection of this course, this teaching. Every word is put in the proper place to move people through a spiritual path. And they come in thinking, okay, well, I'm going to make money or solve things. This is how I start. This is what's called being stuck in the law of attraction. I'm going to use the law of attraction to fix my life. Well,
Yeah.
what you do is you end up on a spiritual path, and then you see through the illusion that there's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's all this unworthiness, this illusion of unworthiness, the illusion of imperfection. So we're starting a new one on November 9th, which is a Monday. So if you want in on that, the only way to get in is to have a conversation with me. Send me an email to garybodley@gmail.com, and we'll set up a Zoom call, and I'll explain the whole thing to you. You can't get into it unless you have that conversation, because I have to see if you're a vibrational match, if you're interested of all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And explain it in detail, because until you know what the detail is, you can't really understand the value of it.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Is that picture behind you your house?
Yeah, it's actually a photo that was photoshopped to make look like a oil painting.
It looks beautiful.
It's
it looks so I'd be on that porch all the time.
Oh yeah, we have events here. We just had one last weekend. It was unbelievable. But
It's fabulous.
We take out. There's 5 bedrooms in this house. We have a bed and breakfast across the street that's just as gorgeous. There's 5 bedrooms there and another one down the street, and we fill them up. And then we just are here for the weekend doing Joshua Live, and we're doing breathing and yoga and this
Sounds
light
so
work.
fabulous.
Oh,
sounds so
bonfires
fabulous.
cooking together. Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh my God, it sounds really fun.
But that house, I had this inspiration to buy a house where we could have Joshua events. I'm living in Palm Beach. I look at all these houses all over the South. I see this bed and breakfast down the street. Never heard of this town before. And it was for sale around 500,000. You know, this house is 4,500 square foot, built in 1907 on Main Street.
Wow.
Big lot. We have outbuildings and cool stuff. Anyway, it hadn't been lived in for 20 years. And it was $112,000, right? So I bought it without seeing it. I come, I see all these other houses on the way up. I say, there's no way this is going to be the good house, right? So I come up, and the bones are good. And I go upstairs. There's a big, nice, beautiful staircase up front. Go upstairs. There's a hallway down the back of the upstairs.
Wow.
Go down the back staircase, which leads into the kitchen. I am on the landing. I'm looking at the back, and I go, this is the house that was recurring in my dreams since I'm 25 years old. I had always wondered what this old house was that needed work. And here it was. And so the moment of recognition, I go, that's it. And I still didn't think I was going to live here. Started working on it and said, oh, I'm moving. Yep.
I love that story. I just love that story. Jeez. Yeah. Well, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for everything that you do. And I hope you guys will check Gary out and his books and the retreat. I call it the retreat. Retreat sounds great. Workshops. I don't know what you want to call it. I love it. I love it. I just love it.
Lots of stuff. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is great.
Fabulous.
And
so
connecting you with you. It's so affirming.
It is. It is. I get validation from you too. I love that.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Check us out at teachingsofjoseph.com and follow us on Instagram at Teachings of Joseph, where you will see Joseph's daily quotes and wisdom. And subscribe to this channel if you like our stuff, because we love doling it out. So we will be back soon again, and I'm gonna ride you until you'll come back again, because I want to talk to you about other stuff too. I'll send you an email later, and maybe we can do some other things. I've got some ideas. Anyway,
Absolutely.
starting to
Yep.
flow in. I think
That's
it's
right.
time. It's
Great.
time, everybody. It's time. It's time. Oh, God. All right, everybody. Take care. We'll see you soon. Stay safe out there and go vote. Go
Bye-bye.
vote. Bye.